Welcome to the Road is Dead podcast. I'm your host, Rob Curtis. And yes, that is our phone ringing in the background because it started ringing right when we hit the record button and whatever. That's kind of the way everything's going lately. Joining me in the studio, we have
Leah Sanda.
And remotely,
Tim Strelecki, as always.
And here we go. We're back to the one a week podcast, hopefully at least for a period of time. Because it's cross season. We'll be hitting, what races have happened, what everybody's been doing, and what we see developing. Not just cyclocross, guys. Not just cyclocross. We're going to cover a lot of things. So, but I'd say in honor of it being cross season and full on and everything, I decided to wear my mask, my ventilation apparatus that I use while gluing tubulars, along with my smock apron that's covered in tubular glue down in the bottom there. But it turns out you can't hear me if I put it on and talk. So it's kind of counterproductive. So those of you that are watching on YouTube, you can see me wearing it, or at least around my neck, what have you. Speaking of which, if you only listen to the audio version, please like and share with others. And take a minute, go out to YouTube and subscribe. We do have a pretty good following out there, but are decent. It's a few people. But every little bit helps. Share it, do whatever. And then always take a minute, drop us a line at roadisdead, all one word, roadisdead@gmail.com, and ask us where you can buy beautiful buttonhole chamois cream. And we'll give you a list of places where you can go and buy it. One of the places is going to be treadsavvy.com. Tread Savvy, where you can get all of your cyclocross tire needs at discount. Use code GRIT20. Still GRIT20. Those memories from Grit are running deep. So, it's kind of like I got a lot of flyers that have printed GRIT20 on them. Might as well keep using it for a while. So we are running lower on inventory, but my goal was to be one of the high stocking inventory places. We're out on Instagram. That's the only social media we have for Tread Savvy. So if you want to see stuff when things are on sale, things like that, go and follow it. Challenge North America has been pretty good about sharing our statuses when they can. But I've been finding out that I put stuff in stories and they're non-shareable for some reason. And I have the settings set correctly. So turns out I am 50 years old and I am not good with this level of technology, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, on to the regular, normal, whatever. Seeing as how Leah's giving me a look of, I am bored out of my fucking skull when you stop talking. One of the questions, well, we're not going to start with that one. We're going to start with, in the news lately, obviously, there's been a lot of talk about SRAM suing the UCI. If you want to know more about it, you can tune into any podcast known to man. They've spent a long time talking about it. But the essence of that argument is they're suing about the gearing restrictions. The UCI, if you remember, has put into play this idea of trying to make the peloton safer in races. And one of the things that they're attacking is gear ratios. And they're saying that there needs to be a max gear ratio. And the way that they're going about it is they're doing a rollout, in essence. They're saying the highest gear that you have on your bike needs to be limited by a rollout, so to speak. And what that does then is SRAM cassettes, because they're running a 10 cog, makes them almost universally over rollout with all of the chain rings that all the pros want to run. So they made the announcement, and a bunch of pros started going, well, then I can't run my chain ring. And they're wanting to run that big chain ring so that they're more in the middle of the cassette and have a better pedaling efficiency or chain, less drag on the chain, more efficient gear ratio. And so that's why they're using it. But it's not like, in other words, they're running like what, a 60 tooth or whatever chain ring. They're not running 60-10. That's not what they're doing. They're going further up the cassette. The problem is SRAM's entire lineup, because they decided that the entire world needed to go 1x, their entire lineup, even if you're running 2x, runs with a 10-tooth cog. So it effectively makes every single one of their modern cassettes non-viable if they stick with the same chain ring size and they don't go further down the cassette range. this has been interpreted by a bunch of teams and then basically saying, oh, it's not, SRAM's not UCI compliant. And then it's led to the UCI saying that they're not compliant. Now, that's not true. When you look at the big picture, they're still compliant, number one. Number two, those rules are not in effect anyway. That is still something that's being done. But SRAM is basically making the case that by all these people saying that SRAM is not compliant, it's done irreparable damage to their business. Because now you have all these masters age people and enthusiasts who aren't even racing saying, well, I can't buy SRAM because it's non-UCI compliant. I have seen that happen with equipment over the years. Let's face it, people still buy 33 millimeter cyclocross tires because those are UCI compliant. And we've said on this podcast that, in my opinion, that kicks in once you hit Cat 3. And once you start to get serious about the sport, you need to start running what is permitted by the rules. That being said, you can run 38s now if you're a Masters or young junior. Well, hey, you can run 38s, but we have covered this. You and I have covered this many times, Tim. We've had a lot of, I'll say heart-to-hearts, but they're not really heart-to-hearts. What I do is I say, are you sure you don't want to run 38s, Tim? It's perfectly legal for you to run 38s. And you usually say something along the lines of,
no, 33s.
Well, you say it more flower, or I can't say that in a more animated fashion. You usually say,
stupid.
fuck no, put 33s on there.
I did think about it the other day when I was in there and we were discussing tires, and I was like, man, maybe I should go with a 38 Griffo.
38 Grifo, man.
No, in the front and the 33 in the rear. And then I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
38 Grifo, man. I am a convert. I mean, when it comes to tubulars, I am a convert. I am going to be running 38 tubulars, and they are legal. They are legal. They are 100% legal. So I don't want to go to another race for the rest of the season and have anybody go, racing the illegal tires, huh? You won that race on your illegal tires. Huh?
I'll say that to everyone that has 38s.
Yeah. Hey, it's your game.
Well, last year I ran 33s for everything because I was planning to go to nationals and found
you
out
run
I could have run 38s even at nationals, which I was like, well, it's too bad I had all this stuff glued up. So,
Oh, well.
So, yeah. So this SRAM thing, they are basically suing the UCI, saying that their rules are putting them in a non-competitive spot, basically an antitrust kind of thing, like under the EU's competition laws. So they're saying that they're siding basically with Shimano and not with even Campy. That this rule is 100% made for Shimano. A, bullshit. It's not made for Shimano. But B, we shouldn't be discussing a maximum gear for fucking pros anyway, to be honest with you. This is all kind of pointless. And C, a lot of people believe, and I kind of agree, more people should sue the UCI when it comes to some of the rules.
Are you saying that you completely disagree with the UCI trying to slow down the speed of racers for safety's sake?
Okay.
Is there any?
I am not saying that. Oh, let me back up and say, I think slowing the racers down for safety's sake may be a good idea. I don't know. What I do know is that when you limit gear size under this false pretense of trying to limit speed, it never works out that way. There is always a workaround. And the juniors fields for the last 30 years should have told everyone that.
Yeah.
What ends up happening is you end up with riders riding at cadences that are way too fucking high for the speeds that they're traveling at.
90% of them can't pedal that fast.
Right. Especially this crop currently. I don't think many of those pros can function well at a high cadence because they're starting to find that there's actually really good pedaling efficiency with power output down in that 80 whatever cadence range. So we're going back the opposite direction. Yeah. Meanwhile, if you believe Greg LeMond, we only went to the 195, 100 cadence range as being efficient during the Lance era because that's the cadence range that he had to use with the motor that was in his seat tube. depends on who you believe on all this stuff. Anyway, yeah, I don't think so. No, I don't think that I think it's a good thing for the Union Ciclista Internacional to try to make races safer. That I think is a good thing. I think with almost everything with the UCI, and I got to watch myself here. I think with almost everything with the UCI, we always run into this thing of they try to fix one thing and they make 40 other problems. And a lot of people say that about USA Cycling a lot too, and I usually don't jump on that bandwagon. I'm usually like, hey, they're doing the best that they can, whereas we expect more out of the UCI with it being an international organization over all of cycling. So yeah, I think it would be. I think honestly, you can do more for the safety of riders by spending way more time vetting the actual courses and the safety on the courses for those riders.
That's kind of my thought, because apparently now they are making rulings about helmets. What's a road helmet versus what's a TT helmet, so that they can place restrictions
now
there.
that they did specifically to preserve the look of the sport.
Is that it?
That is it. They stated even that. So this is the same as saying that all bicycles have to be a double triangle construction, and all those rules. That is one to, and that's some of that is also on the sock height deal too. While yes, tall socks, aerodynamic socks will give you savings, and they want to limit that. At the same time, some of that is preservation of the look of the sport. Because they don't want a bunch of robotic looking idiots, mass starting a freaking crit,
They did backpedal a little on the handlebar width.
They tried to, they started to, and then I've already seen like 20 things where people are, I don't even know what they changed with their backpedaling, but apparently there's a bunch of people saying they didn't go far enough or they still fucked it up. Whatever.
Well, what I saw was that they reduced the
opened
minimum width between inside of your hoods.
Yeah.
From like, I don't know, 320 to 280 or something like that. Noting that they reserve the right to potentially bring that back up.
Change it whenever the hell they want.
Whenever they want. It's like, okay, because you got all these women and smaller riders that are on these narrow setups. They're like, well, what the heck are we supposed to do now?
I heard something that Pidcock said recently about in regards to this topic of slowing races down, where he talked about a good way to make the races slower is have everyone be in ketosis. Don't just give them fucking 600 grams of sugar an hour to slam. Yeah. Take fucking gas out of the engine.
But I mean, if the whole point of all of this is trying to make the races safer, is it really is reducing the speed of the bicycles as very effective as compared to the safety of the courses?
Whatever.
I mean, you could. There's way too many. You just can't do it. You can't do it. What are you going to do? You're going to re-engineer the bicycle and make it less aerodynamic, make it all round tubes, make it fucking steel again.
They did that. They quite honestly did that back in the era before they made that decision. There was some really cool monocoque designs that were coming out, and I remember all that. Kestrel had a really interesting one.
Dude, it's sport. It's sport.
The super bikes were awesome. And then it started to very quickly, it was apparent that the future of bike racing was not going to be on what we consider to be bikes. I will say that I appreciate the fact that they made that move when they did. The really cool stuff was really cool. We saw a lot of it. You still ended up with weird geeky stuff like Soft Ride and those weird one-offs, and it's cool to see people experiment with that. They can do it in the recreational sphere, and they still can to this day. So there's nothing limiting that. But I do like bicycles being bicycles. I just do.
There's no solution.
No, there isn't.
There's no solution.
But to round back on this SRAM thing, they're suing them.
Yeah.
I like to see the UCI get sued. Yeah. Thankfully SRAM is stepping up and suing them. What was the other one? Giant. Oh wow, Giant. So yesterday, Customs and Border Protection, CBP, announced that they were I don't know if it's seizing or halting or whatever, but they were stopping the import of all bicycles and accessories and anything from Giant that is being imported into the U.S. So that means containers are currently on hold, not being released from import. The reason they cited slave labor, in essence, and when you dive into it and you look a little more into it, and I can be wrong on any of this. I mean, don't take me as a source. If you're really interested, go look it up. But in essence, what it looked like is Taiwan. Now, I've lived in Taiwan, and I don't remember, forced labor. My dad worked in factories there. There was no forced labor there. But what it appears has happened is that Taiwan has been doing what a lot of other countries are doing right now, where they need more labor. They're turning to brokers, labor brokers in other countries, and they're paying them to deliver employees. So a lot of the employees now in a couple of these giant facilities in Taiwan are not native Taiwan. They're not from Taiwan. They're coming in from other countries, and it appears as though they are being sent over, and Giant is paying these companies, or was paying these companies, like $5,500 per employee to get them to bring these employees over. Well, these companies, these brokerages, were basically doing this almost slave trade, indentured servitude, kind of, owing your soul to the company store thing. There's a word for all of this, but I'm not smart enough to know it. But what happened was these brokerages were requiring those employees to pay the brokerage 2 months worth of salary. Their contracts were, I think, for 2 or 3 years, and they were required to pay those brokerages a portion of their salary. So basically, these brokerages were garnishing their wages and or not garnishing, but taking their money from them, and it was like they had to pay in order to keep that job. And so that's what was found. That was brought up to Giant apparently in the past. And Giant claims that they have taken steps to eliminate that, or to no longer do business with those brokerages that are doing that. So they are pleading with CBP to lift the ban and seizing of their goods coming into the U.S. This obviously has a big effect, not just for Giant. Giant obviously makes bicycles for a lot of people. They have made them for just about every major brand at one time or another, depending on the line and depending on what it is. Merida is another factory that does the same kind of stuff. What's interesting is that this is a factory in Taiwan instead of a factory in China, which I found quite interesting, having lived there. So, that's the Giant ordeal. It could have an impact on all sorts of things, availability of parts and products, because Giant does more than just Giant. So,
my question when I saw this is this actually as big of a deal as it seems like it could be, or is this like same thing another day? This happens
huge.
all the time, and
No.
we're just hearing about this one.
No, this one hit the news instantly. This one's huge. Giant. The whole industry is suffering right now as it is, and it has been for a long time. You always hear that from me. That's why I try not to talk about it as much. But it's not a good move for a company. Giant's returns are down something like 20% this year. I could be wrong on that, but I know they were down 20%. If it was not this year, then it was last year. They have not had a good outlook. They have done layoffs. There's been people losing their jobs within the Giant organization. they're not alone. Other manufacturers, large OEMs, are losing jobs. BMC announced layoffs, publicly a while back, and it was kind of all sorts of different. They eliminated at least one market segment of bikes. Just said, we're not going to do that anymore. And so they got rid of all the people that were associated with it and some other stuff, positions throughout. And there's long-term strategy things with a lot of these companies on what are they going to do. Trek eliminated a ton of SKUs not that long ago. That was big news for them. There were people that said for a very long time that they may not necessarily be. There's a lot of financial rumors about Trek, and I don't have anything to substantiate them, so I'm not going to discuss them. But let's just say there's a lot of people in the industry that say that Trek may not be on good ground. That being said, a couple days ago, it did hit, at least in one of our industry things, that there were layoffs at Trek. And that is coming ahead of Trek CX Cup in a couple weeks. So that may be interesting. I don't know of anybody who was laid off inside of there as of now. And it seemed like some of the departments were more on innovation side as opposed to the day in and day out operations. But I don't know. I don't know how many. I don't know in what roles, but it did hit the rounds and was backed up by a few people. So, but it didn't hit the traditional bicycle industry news cycle. So there's nothing to point at to say that has happened. So if it hasn't, take it with a grain of salt. I'm not the end all to be all on this information, but I report hearsay and what I've heard. So that is rumor.
Okay.
Womp womp.
Yeah. So cyclocross.
Yeah, we didn't race. Did you race last weekend, Tim?
I did.
You did. You did. How'd that go?
I went to Wisconsin.
That's right.
Good. Sheboygan. Went up to Sheboygan for an event. It was good. It was a good track. Wanted to go up there ever since I saw their schedule come out, and I kind of go down a YouTube rabbit hole and I look at these courses and find races, and I'm like, oh, that track looks cool. Maybe I'll go do that. And this one had a nice little sand quarry to ride through, so I was like, oh, no better way to practice sand than in a race scenario. Yeah, so it was good. Ended up getting the win, having a good fight for it. So it's nice to bounce back after the week prior and all my debacle there. So
good. It's good.
Things are going in the right direction. Let's hopefully I don't burn out before nationals.
Are you going up there Saturday for the Richfield?
No, I'm gonna take a weekend off of traveling up to Wisconsin. I did the first 4, and it's a lot of back and forth, but I thoroughly enjoy it. I don't mind doing it. There's a myriad of reasons why I don't mind going up there. But I'll be back, up there. We have our local series is opening here, then we have track, and then I'll probably make my way back up there because I think after track in the local series, there's quite a few good venues that are coming up that I'll wanna race at.
Nice. Yeah, I've been toying with maybe going up to Wisconsin Saturday. Just trying to figure out what I want to do. I am officiating on Sunday at our opener, so I won't be on my bicycle at all. So it's like, okay, what do I want to do this Saturday?
Yeah.
And I felt really good a couple days ago on the bike, and I hit some intervals just because it felt good, and it kind of was like, you know what? Maybe I should jump into another race before I head out to California. So I might do that. I missed the cutoff for pre-reg on Wednesday, so I'll just make it a game day decision, I think.
Yeah. It's not a bad idea. Go get some intensity in the legs. Race situation. It's always good.
Yeah. So, and then then the weekend after that, I'll be gone because I'll be out in California, and then we've got Trek, followed by Inglewood, followed by King's Cross. Are you going to King's?
Yep.
Oh.
Go to
That's
Kings, probably go to Indy.
Triple X weekend.
Yeah, that's the Triple X weekend, the Kings weekend.
I'll be here in Chicago.
I think my October is abroad, all of it. So hopefully be able to race all of October, double weekends, and then take a rest in November, and then last push for nationals. Like I said, I'll probably only race 2 CCC, if that.
Our Anthony is on a plane today.
Yes,
heading
on his
out
way to Charm City.
Yeah, Charm City. So I'm excited to hear stories from him on his trip out there.
He's in for one.
Yeah, have you done it?
No,
Tim?
but I've seen it and talked to people, and it's vastly different than anything he's ever been on. I showed him a picture of the flyover and the 40 stairs he's got to run up. He's like, "Are you ready for this?" And he's like, no. Yeah, they don't fuck around out there.
Yeah.
And it looks like, from what I can tell on their Instagram channel, that it's been raining.
Fun.
For days.
I hope he brought my limuses that I let him use.
Oh, I glued up some new Fangos for him.
Oh, okay.
We still have those.
So.
He probably did, because he lit me up one night asking me what pressures I run in a tubeless setup, and we went back and forth, and he told me he had your set of limus. It's like, dude, you're not going to be able to run those if it's super muddy. You can't get them low enough.
Limus? Oh, tubeless.
You can't get them low enough.
Yeah.
I get that, and I understand that, but so that kind of, we did get a question. I don't remember where it came in, and I don't remember where it came in because it didn't come through roadisdead@gmail.com. All one word, roadisdead@gmail.com. Please send your questions there. It came in through another way, and I don't remember the exact wording because I couldn't go back and look
slid in your DMs.
Probably, but here's the thing. Here's the thing about my DMs. This is my 5-second rant, waiting for you to grab a watch because you always time me when I say shit like that. I have like 40 different social media profiles on every platform. Therefore, the business, the team, every business, every little segment, my own personal ones, whatever. If you send me a message, a DM on any of those, I'm probably never going to see it. It just, I don't really, I go out there, but I spend time on my own personal account. I try to make it onto the business ones. I definitely can't double back. And there's some accounts where if it's Meta, so it's Facebook or Instagram, they deal with it with like a third party app, a business like console kind of thing that I can never figure out how to get into or look at. But I'll see notifications, in different places. And if I click on those notifications, then it will launch me into the app. And then it will take me into some other like comment that I can't even, I don't know what's going on. I'm old. This is complicated. I want to throw a rock at it. So, so don't slide into my DMs.
You should look into it and then maybe cut those accounts in half.
Can't. There's one for every account that you've got. So, and it's like, I don't know. Well, hold on. Let's talk about.
So,
what do you have?
if
you have a Simon account, a buttonhole account.
Hold on. On Instagram, I have my personal account. I have Cymet Racing. I have Road is Dead, the one for this one. I have Enzo's Cycling. I have Cymet, and I have Tread Savvy. That is it. But that's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 accounts. One of them has 5 chats, 5 messages and DMs. And all the rest have notifications. Oh, my main one has 4 messages.
In other words, if you need to ask Rob a question, email him at
roadisdead
or info@Cymet.
Yeah, if you need actual work done, hit me up at info@cymet.com. If you need chamois cream, hit me up at sales@enzocyclingproducts.com. That's an old email, but it was one that they had from day one, I think, with Buttonhole. So we've kept it because everybody's got it. Eventually, I will add more email addresses. I have ones for Tread Savvy somewhere. I set them up. I don't know where they go to, and I haven't been able to reply with them, I don't think. So whatever. But I pay, $5-10 a month for that privilege. So anyway.
Yeah.
This is all stupid.
Back to the question.
But back to the question that we did get had to do with cyclocross. And it was, how do you go about, I believe it was, how do you go about selecting the treads that you're going to use? So I'm assuming this means at the venue, how do you figure out what treads you're putting on? Because for you have multiple sets of wheels. I have multiple sets of wheels. Leah, you've got multiple sets of wheels. And you're
Not
currently running
everybody
a
does.
mix. You're currently running a mix of tubular and tubeless, I believe. Leah is as well.
Yeah.
Everything that I have is tubular.
I mean, I don't know. I prefer to race on tubular, but all my tubulars are there. It depends. It depends on what kind of track it is. And I mean, the best intermediate tread is a Griffo, and that's all I have. I only have those in tubeless.
What do you take into account when you get out there? How do you pick?
Well, first of all, I look and see what kind of track is it. What are the features? Is there a lot of off camber? Well, first of all, what's the weather going to be? Weather is the first thing. Always look at the weather. All the way up until the morning before your race. Because the weather app will tell you one thing, and then you show up at the venue and it's completely different because you don't live at the venue.
So what are you paying attention to with the weather?
Seeing if it rains. I mean, dry weather, it doesn't matter.
So just moisture.
Just moisture. Just rain. Is it going to rain? When's it going to rain? How hard is it going to rain? Okay. And if it's going to rain, obviously it knocks quite a few options out. You're either going to go with a, in challenge terms, you're either going to go with a baby limus or a limus if it's super heavy. Or if you're one of the lucky, fortunate ones like myself and still have a good set of PDX, you'll go with those. Or
if you
any mud tire you have.
If you know you're going to be racing early in the day where the course is still not really ridden in yet and could have some wet, dewy grass, do you consider that too? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I'll jump in. I'm not obviously that great, but my thing on that is it's double-sided. So because the track isn't worn in, there's more drag on the track all the way around. But the dew is always a factor. And I have to see, for me, I have to look at what's happening in the first race. How are the conditions changing in the first race? Is the sun out? Is the wind picking up or anything like that? The general rules with cross and with moisture is that if there's wind, it will dry up faster. If you know much about the area and it's been raining a lot lately, but it's got good drainage and it's going to dry up quick, that's a thing. If it's been raining for 2 weeks, it's going to be muddy, even if it doesn't rain that day. So all things to consider. Tim, you were talking about the Sheboygan race. Was it Sheboygan?
Yeah.
The one where it was wet at the bottom because it was so low, but it was dry up top. It had some of the other features.
Well, it was, it had a big sand section, but the sand section was only, 2% of the puzzle. The rest of the track was all, normal grass. And we had, at least in my race, we had a big mid-race rain shower, and I knew that was going to happen, so I chose for a beefier tire. I went with my set of PDX, and it ended up working out for me. I put them on a little softer pressure, number one, because the track was super bumpy from pre-ride, so you want a little suspension, and then B, for when it did rain, I didn't want to feel like I was on the wrong side of pressures and everything was too firm. Could have got away with it if it stayed dry, but I erred on the side that it was going to rain, and luckily it did. But I will say, I think first and foremost, out of anything other than moisture, the best tire for you is the one that you're most comfortable on.
Yeah.
Period. I don't care if you're the only one in the entire field with knobbies on. If you're comfortable on it and you feel like you can go fast on that, go fast on that. That's it.
Yeah.
Cyclocross there's a lot of pieces in the cyclocross puzzle that I have to go right. But if you miss your tire selection, that's a huge factor. That's more than 50% of the game. Pressures being another significant factor. So I think for me, it's what am I most comfortable on? Does the track have a lot of turns? Okay, then I'm going to probably do a mixture of tread. I'm probably going to do knobbies up front and speed in the rear. I'm a huge fan of that. I'm a huge fan of going a little more aggressive and a little less aggressive in the back. just
That's
because
essentially,
I have a different riding style
yeah.
than most.
King's Cross last year, it was super dry.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, this is a total Grifo course. And I struggled a couple times with feeling like I was losing traction with my front. So on day 2, I threw my Flandrian on the front. I kept the Grifo on the back, and that
Yeah.
was perfect for me.
Yeah, it's a great combo.
A lot more confidence with a little more grip in the front.
Yeah, I remember I ran tubeless Griffos at King's, super dry, and I had a couple dicey moments, but I identified where they were at, and I just kind of like didn't go full gas into those couple corners. It was just like, all right, slow down here, take the corner, accelerate.
So that's kind of, I mean, not that the way that I choose is I go onto the course and I find, well, generally, you got the wrong tread if generally you feel like you've got no real control anywhere, at least the tread or the pressure. But you can usually tell if it's a traction issue or if it's just a bite issue. Traction issue, if you're all over the place on the whole course, then yeah, that's not going to work for you. Bite issue is you're losing in a certain features or certain areas. Then you can play with pressure and make sure that you're not bottoming out, but you're still smooth. But I usually go out, and if there's I think I make my decisions based on honestly going with the fastest tread that I can, the one with the least rolling resistance for the conditions that I can go out and control. And if it's got a couple sections that are dicey, I may or may not change treads based on that. So, if it's a short section and I think I can just suffer through it, I'll suffer through it. If it's a long enough section where I feel like I'm going to lose a lot of spots if I mess it up there, then I'm going to up tread. So I start low on treads in the hierarchy. Bottom, if we're talking challenge treads, it would be Dune, Chicane, Grifo, Baby Limas, Fango's in there, a little bit more than Baby Limas, Flandrian, Baby Limas. I'll start at the bottom and head up. For Jackson Park when it's dry, I've run those dunes, and I've loved them. I've been out there and enjoyed them. Chicanes, they're a great little tread for that kind of speed, but then you have a heavy side lug that you can bite on some off cambers if you really need to. So I tend to start low, go high, and I look for features that may cause me problems that I want more grip or control on.
Makes sense. Fair.
Yeah.
And then adjust pressures. Once I'm within the range, then it's adjusting pressures. So what do you do if you're the first race of the day?
You only have limited time. Go with what you feel most comfortable on. Like you said, at least around here, the Masters races are always in the morning. There's always dew. It's always wet. It's a crapshoot. You're going to have grip in some areas. You're going to not have grip in other areas. It all depends really on what tire you choose, and how much, what does the track look like? Is it flat? Is it fast? Is it wide open corners? Is it tight corners? I mean, there's a multitude of things you have very limited time to figure out. And if you just kind of eliminate all those questions and go with the tire that at least gives you grip everywhere, go with that.
Or to your point, the one you're most comfortable on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're going to be fastest on the one you're most comfortable on.
The one you ride the most.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with, a gravel tire. Not that we're going to touch on that.
We will eventually, because, Tread Savvy will also venture into gravel.
I think
after I sell these cross tires.
It's different for everybody. Everybody has their own way of going and choosing what they want to run. My process is different than yours, Rob, which is different than yours, Leah, which is certainly different from whoever wrote that question.
And some of to point something out, I'm talking about I go through the hierarchy of treads and then I go down in pressure to grab so I'm trying to choose what I feel is the fastest tread that I can, and then I can compensate by lowering the pressure on it. That is one area that I don't think anybody ever really fully explains when it comes to tubulars. So tubulars, because they are glued onto the rim and because you can push them, at lower and lower pressures. I feel like that's one of the benefits, that you can actually run a faster, less grippy tread and compensate with that with pressure, more so than you can in a tubeless setup.
If you're comfortable with it. If you're comfortable with it, there's people that, the lower you go with more supple sidewalls, like a challenge sidewall, you're going to deal with that squirm. And if you're not used to that, you're going to be terrible. There's a lot of squirm. If you're not used to the tire rolling underneath you and what that feels like and how to control that. You can't just say, here you go, John Doe or Jane Doe, or not to use those terminologies, but here you go. Here's this fast tire. Here's this chicane. Give it a shot. And they've never ridden it before. They'll be fast, but they'll crash a lot because they won't understand how the tire functions with in regards to pressure, or it takes, my experience personally is that the more minimal tread you have on a supple casing, you have to learn how to ride that. You can't just be like, here, the track's drying out here, you can use my set of, dunes or chicanes. That's going to be a recipe for disaster.
Oh, I love it. I don't think I got any particular riding skills either, but I find it very nice.
That's definitely another thing you got to think about. Like, what's your comfort level? How good are you? Are you skillful? Do you have skills? Do you not have skills? Are you someone that just goes full gas and then breaks into every corner? Do you lack efficiency? Do you know how to roll through a corner? Do you know how to even see the line in a corner? Do you know how to read the camber? There's so many, there's so many people out there that could be fast, but they can't ride a bike to save their life.
Yeah. That brings up something that I think I was covering. Was it you and me that brought this up, or was it me and Anthony, or was it even you and me, about rim brake versus disc? I think that we lost a lot of the nuance that was beautiful about this. Isn't me waxing, romantic and nostalgic. What I'm trying to say is that when we were racing on rim brake, there was so much less braking ability that in order to be really good, you had to figure out your lines, how to control your speed, not just going all out just because you could, but knowing what the next feature, how that was laid out so that you didn't carry too much speed into it, and so on and so forth. And that, the plus and minus of going to disc is that for me, when we went to disc, I was able to override features, ride a feature at a faster speed than my ability could handle, because I could always just slam the brakes. And that gave me, but I rode through the rim brake era, you know what I mean? So I understood that, and I understood going into the disc brake era, holy crap, I can do this now. But, it presents all sorts of other, you lose traction faster with disc brakes than you did with rim brakes, because rim brakes would carry their speed. Just because you had your brake on didn't mean you were actually slowing down.
Yeah. Well, I've spent the first 2 races of the season on my rim brake bike.
That's right. You still are. Yeah, you still are running that rim brake.
My B bike is a rim brake bike. I love it. It's great. It's a completely different experience, And if you took, I think the most of the racers today, if they didn't grow up in the rim brake era, or they've only ridden disc, if you threw them on one of those, they would freak out. They'd freak out.
Yeah.
They'd freak out. I'm not slowing down.
Yeah, I don't.
You got to figure out how to do that.
I don't know that we're necessarily. If you've never ridden a rim brake cyclocross bike, I don't think we're doing the descriptions justice. Put yourself on a very steep grade. Imagine not being able to stop at all.
Yeah.
You could be full on squeezing as hard as possible, and you're still careening down the side of that. And then now try doing it on an off camber and turning uphill,
But I think, rim brake bikes are so great in the sense that they teach you how to be efficient.
Yeah. Yeah.
They teach you an efficiency. They teach you how to roll a corner. They teach you how to not touch your brakes in the corner. They teach you that if I get on the brakes too hard here, then I'm going to have to accelerate and burn a match out of this corner. If I brake far enough in advance going into the corner, I can maintain my speed through the corner and not have to waste energy.
And I think they also teach you how to carry that speed through they push you to carry more speed and learn how to carry that speed through tricky situations.
It's, it's akin to riding a single speed.
Yeah.
You got to carry your speed.
Right.
Single speed's just one gigantic excuse for going slow. That's an old joke.
Yeah,
come on.
It's a joke. Okay.
RDRR.
I raced single speed in our series. It's
I
hard.
know.
It's hard.
I would not want to race single speed. I'm not against single speed. I don't think it'd be any good for me.
It's for the diehards out there. I mean, if you like to really, grunt things out, then yeah. Or you can spin at 130 RPM.
I understand the appeal. But it's definitely not. I'm the kind of racer where in a race, I think I posted some screenshots last year of some of my early races because I'm running Di2 and it tracks it in the Garmin. I would get to the end of the race, hit stop, and then look at the file really quick on the head unit, and it would show me the number of shifts that I had done. Now, granted, I'm running one by. And I remember my shift count for a 40-minute race would be over 200. It'd be like between 200 and 300 shifts for a 40-minute race. So I'm the kind of person where if I'm screaming into a corner and I've gotten tired and I've forgotten, oh crap, I need to come out, in this gear. I don't want to be overgeared. You always yell at me for being overgeared coming out of a corner. I'll hit it. And you can hear me.
Overgeared.
You can hear me drop, 6 gears coming in that corner, and I'll still be overgeared coming out of it. So, yeah, is what it is.
I've yelled at you to shift millions of times. Yeah. So I think it's it's personal preference, but there are a bunch of factors that to help you to decide.
Well, because of that, I don't ever see me running a single speed setup. I just don't. I don't think I could carry the speed that well. Then again, though, I could be like, hey, it's single speed. There's only so fast I can go on the straightaways. So, maybe that would be a little bit better.
Yeah.
Maybe I should try it.
You should try it.
Yeah, I should try it.
There you go.
No. Yeah. 42-18. That's good for anything around here.
Although I'm thinking about swapping to a 42.2. I was thinking about swapping to a 42.2 chainring this year, but then I've been off the bike for 5 weeks, basically. So,
yeah.
And a lot of people have asked because of the last episode and the one before it, kind of how we're doing. Right after the last episode, I did go to the doctor on Friday. I got x-rays and they said, nope. They said, you're not really healing. You got another 4 weeks. So right now I'm going to disobey that guidance in another week or so in terms of getting on a bike outside. I understand my doctor is trying to be very conservative in his approach. Yeah. He's like, I wouldn't do it because what happens if you wreck? And you can't approach riding a bike outside with the what happens if I wreck mentality. And I'm pretty sure that I can ride the same route that I've ridden 1,000 or 2,000 times with a high degree of confidence that I'm not going to just randomly wreck. Not that it's safe 100%. We all know anything can happen, and I have wrecked on that path before. Things happen. But I feel safe in another week or so to going outside and getting on the bike. So at least I'll be able to do that. But yeah, I'm not racing this weekend, not racing at Trek, and I'm not racing at Inglewood. I may have my first bike race be at XXX that weekend. So we will see. So with that in mind, if anybody shows up to the race this Sunday, I could use some help unloading, setting up, or packing out at the end of the day. I know there's lots of people that are going to help, but I'm just throwing that out there if you happen to be in the area. Apparently, Kenny has gotten a hold of his phone because I now have 4 text messages in the last couple seconds. Let's check and make sure no one's dead.
Who's going to be Kenny's sidekick?
I don't know.
I don't know. I wonder if he found a sidekick.
You should do it, Rob.
Yeah.
No.
You should do it,
Why
Rob.
would I do it? Why would I do that?
Why wouldn't you do it? You're not doing anything else.
I got to talk to people all day. I got to watch the races. Oh, wait, I can do that with Kenny.
That as an announcer? Yes, you can. And
I have to talk to people all day.
You have to?
And hey, do you want me to take your wheels? Yeah, sure. They're dropping off. What do you want glued on it? Can you fix this for me? It's that kind of stuff all day long.
It's an excuse.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could help them on Sunday, but then after that, I'm racing. So, He needs a all-time helper. Is he still sending us texts?
No, just all of mine just came through.
Oh, gotcha.
Apparently.
We have 12 texts.
You got to take that I'm racing thing a little slower, dude. I know you're itching and start cross season.
Well,
and
okay.
You're like,
I'm racing within.
You're gonna find out that like, oh, I can't do that. Or
yeah,
once
no,
you
I
go
know.
to yank on the once you go to yank on the bars and you feel a rib go, you're gonna be like,
no, I
I
know,
can't do
I
that.
know. I know, and I'm not gonna push it. And like I said, I'm gonna have to play this by ear.
Yeah.
I will try a dismount or two the week of the Triple X race, and if it's not there, it's not there. I'm not gonna be racing it.
As soon as you go to lift your leg up.
Oh, I know. Or stumble. If I stumble while remounting,
yeah.
That's gonna hurt.
Not the infamous kick the back of the seat.
Yeah. Or slam some other things into the back of the seat.
Been there. It sucks.
Here's a general question on remounts. Everyone does it differently. There's some really beautiful remount techniques out there I like watching. I love the just flying all the way up in the air, both legs bent. They're almost Superman.
The Vandahar Superman.
And then like
straight,
they're right on it. I respect that. I can't do it. But I respect it. I don't know how you guys approach it. Me personally, anymore, I do a jump on. I've switched to the jump on the inside of the thigh and slide down technique, and I think it's just with my age that I've done that. One thing that really helped me when I was early on was when I learned to think of mounting it from the rear, coming up over the saddle instead of from behind, instead of trying to jump up and on top of the saddle. Once I started thinking about it that way, as in kind of sliding onto it from behind, everything got a lot easier. And I know you want to make a billion jokes, Leah, but we're not going to go down that road.
I'm not saying anything.
So yeah. How do you guys do it? How do you guys think of your remounts?
I'm just like you said earlier, thigh, land on the thigh and rotate on.
Do you do a stutter step? I definitely do. Nope. I haven't been able to rid myself of that yet.
I think those little stutter steps when remounting, and then the stutter steps before like barriers.
I don't stutter before barriers. Barriers, for some reason, I got locked a long time ago. I mean, I can come flying into one, hard brake last second as I'm getting off, and without changing stride, I'm through it. That is one thing I did figure out at one point.
So I have a confession.
You don't remount?
Oh boy.
You walk?
I walk onto the bike, but really fast.
Oh, that's right. You put like a shoe in?
So no, I mean, I did this at Kenosha after the barriers because I'm like, I haven't done a running remount at all because I haven't been training for cross at all. So I just default to so when I dismount, the pedal nearest me is always on the bottom.
Yeah.
So unless I like kick it or something,
which I do,
when I put the bike down as I'm running, I put the bike down and I step my left foot onto the pedal and swing and start pedaling. Like I just step up over onto the bike. I don't jump at all. I've done it both ways. But when I haven't practiced my remounts, and I have had it happen to me where I have completely just missed it, and then the bike and me all went down into a pile, and I was just like, why risk that? Because I really don't feel like I'm losing more than a half a second by doing it the way I do it, because the way I do it is super fast. So I just do it that way because it's more in control. And I'm not looking for each little fraction of a second on the course.
Advice to newer racers is to do just that. Do whatever is comfortable that you can do under pressure, even if it's not pretty. Worry about refining the technique as you go. But I think a lot of people worry about it and spend a lot of time, early on trying to figure that one out. Whatever it takes to get back on the bike. Because I've seen so many people bobble it and lose. positions or lose a race.
After running and jumping barriers, my heart rate's a little bit pegged, and sometimes I just don't feel confident that I can pull off then I have to jump. And it was like the whole thigh thing onto the inside that people do that make it look so smooth and there's no jump at all, and I'm just like, how do people do that? And I don't know if it's just an issue of my height as a human, or it's just technique. I cannot do it.
You and I are
similar. I do the whole Superman jump and fly onto the saddle, and I've tried last year at our practices, and I could not.
Well, honestly, I started the slide because I started getting, in my mind, lazy, tired. It requires less energy for me.
I can't figure out how to feel. I tried last year so many times, and finally I was just like, I can't do this. And then it messed up my normal flying remount because I kept trying to do something different. Finally, I just said, no.
This is like golf. Don't try to change your swing mid-season.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, stick with what works, even if it's not perfect.
Yeah,
that's my advice.
I think my one little piece of advice that I'll give to people is once you get whatever technique you're comfortable with, if you do happen to go with the standard thigh roll, as I'll call it,
thigh slide.
The thigh slide. Do yourself a favor and speed up before you mount your bike. Take a few really fast strides so you build your speed to get back on the bike before you get back on the bike. Because if you try to do it from a dead stop, everything is just gonna you're gonna be like a ton of bricks falling on your bike and have zero momentum. The whole thing about cyclocross is forward momentum in whatever you're doing. Cornering, driving down a straightaway, dismounting, remounting, running, it's all forward momentum. The second you just lose speed and you're losing, you're wasting
That's
time.
A great point.
And you're not being efficient.
I that bit me in the ass at Inglewood last year with those double dismounts because they had turns. You would get off, go up to the feature, and it was at a high point, and there was an immediate turn. So it was like if you didn't nail your remount, which happened to me like twice or three times, I ended up paying. I couldn't get in the pedals. I couldn't, I was just surfing it, but I was still making forward progress at that point.
Yeah.
But totally. And with other features though, I mean, get over it, start running, get the speed back on the bike, and then remount. And whatever happens, happens. Say a little prayer and go for it.
Yeah.
And then inform your next of kin that you won't have any more kin.
But it's practice. That's all it is. It's repetition.
All right. Well, that's our advice, I guess, for this episode. As always, check cleats, check your cleats, check your chain. Start of the season. At least start fresh if you can.
Make sure your clutch is on your rear derailleur before you race. I forgot to do that at Kenosha, and I did not drop my train, but every time I went over those logs in the back and I heard it rattling around back there, I was like, oh, shoot.
If you don't know what a clutch is, you probably don't have one.
Well, yeah, not everybody has one. There you go.
True. If you're running a 1x, though, even if you have a clutch and you're running a narrow, wide chain ring up front, if you're going to be racing in all conditions, I highly encourage you to get a chain guide. No matter what your setup. No matter what your setup or component group. The mechanics of the physics of how mud works, you need it. You need it. That damn clutch and that little narrow wide thing is not going to fix it. Well, I think we're wrapping up. Your son's calling. Do you want to answer that?
I'll call him back in a minute.
All right. We're wrapping up. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening. Share it with everybody that you can. If you have any questions, send them to roadisdead@gmail.com. As always, pick up some buttonhole chamois cream. If you like it, if you like the podcast and want to say thank you, that's a great way of doing it. That'll help us out. Apart from that, wish everybody luck. Hope to see as many people as I can that are in this area racing cyclocross. If you're not in this area, find a cyclocross race near you. There's a lot of good series all around the country. I know a lot of people are saying that the numbers of cross are down. Not here. I can tell you that. And the only way that they stay good is if you show up. So show up and race, even if you haven't raced for a few years. I'm gonna tell you one thing. You're gonna remember halfway through the first lap why you absolutely love it. That will be after spending the first half of the lap, remembering exactly why you hate it. So, I get it. But by the time you get done, you'll be like, oh, that was amazing. I don't know why I stopped doing this. So get out there and do it. Thanks for joining us, and enjoy the ride.